Previously, we created several variables, each one containing a single value. We're a bit limited with this, however. For example, let's say you want to display a list of articles. You have several articles to display, and you have variables containing strings for the article titles, like this. But what if you don't know how many articles you're going to have? Or if you have a large number of them? You don't know how many individual variables you'd need. The solution is to use an array. An array is simply a list of other values. A single variable containing an array can contain as few or as many values as you want. You can also decide how many values you have in an array when your code is running, not when you write it. So this single variable here contains an array of 3 string values. There are 2 ways to create an array in PHP. You can use square brackets like this, followed by the list of values separated by commas. Alternatively, you can use the array function like this, by writing the word array, again followed by the list of values separated by commas, inside round brackets. These 2 methods are equivalent. You'll see both of these used in other people's PHP code. Personally, I prefer the square brackets method, as I think it looks cleaner, but it's up to you. Let's create an array in our code. This array has 3 elements, each one being a string. So now we have an array variable. How do we use it? We can't use echo, as if we do that, we get this error message. If we use var dump instead, it tells us that this variable contains an array with 3 values. The first one is a 10-character string. The second one is a 12-character string, and so on. Note that each value has been assigned a number starting from 0. Each value in an array is traditionally referred to as an array element. This array, for example, has 3 elements. Each element of the array has a unique value that identifies it. This is known as an index or key. The elements are indexed from 0, so this is element 0, this is element 1, and this is element 2. We can see this when we use var dump to display the contents of the variable. You can access an individual array element by putting the index in square brackets after the array variable name, like this. You can treat one of these as though it was an individual variable. So back in our code, instead of the whole array, let's just print out the value of the first element by adding the index like that. In the browser, it looks like this, just like an individual variable. We can do the same for the third element, for example. Don't forget the indexes start from 0, so the third element has an index of 2. And in the browser, this is what is printed out. If we try and access an array element with an invalid index, like that, we get this error message. We'll see later on how we can process every element of an array using a loop.